Some of the hardest truths in a long marriage don't arrive with a fight. They arrive with quiet. And if you've ever told yourself, "We're fine," because she never complains, I just want you to know you're not the only one who's thought that. For most of my life, I believed silence was a sign that everything was fine. If there were no arguments, no slammed doors, no raised voices at the end of the day, I told myself we were doing well. I thought peace was the absence of noise. I didn't understand that sometimes silence is where the real distance hides. I'm in my 70s now, living at a pace that finally matches my breathing. Mornings come slowly. I wake before the sun, out of habit, not necessity. And I sit at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee that I no longer rush to finish. The house is quiet, in a way that feels different than it used to. Not tense, not busy, just still. When I think back on my marriage, I don't remember big fights. That's what makes this harder to admit. We weren't dramatic people. We built a life that looked steady from the outside. We worked, paid bills, showed up to obligations, and did what was expected. For a long time, I took pride in that. I thought reliability was the same thing as closeness. In the early years, we were like most couples. There was warmth, curiosity, and an easy physical connection that didn't require much thought. It felt natural, like breathing. As the years went on, life filled in the space between us. Work schedules shifted. Responsibilities grew heavier. Fatigue became normal. I noticed that intimacy became less frequent, but I didn't panic. I told myself this was just how long marriages worked. Here's the blind spot. Many steady, reliable people carry without realizing it. They believe love will announce itself when it's in trouble. But sometimes the warning sign isn't noise. Sometimes it's the absence of a question you never learned to ask. Here was my first blind spot. I assumed that if something mattered, it would be spoken out loud. I believed that if she was unhappy, she would say so. After all, we were adults. We were partners. Silence to me meant acceptance. She never complained. Not once did she accuse, demand, or confront me about the physical distance that slowly grew between us. There were no ultimatums, no tearful conversations late at night. I took that as confirmation that we were aligned. I didn't notice how often she turned toward the window while I watched television. I didn't register how our goodnight kisses became routine gestures instead of invitations. I didn't hear what wasn't being said. In midlife, I became very good at staying busy. Busy felt productive. Busy felt responsible. I told myself I was providing, contributing, doing my part. What I didn't realize was that busyness can be a convenient place to hide from uncomfortable questions. It allowed me to avoid asking myself whether we were still meeting each other in the ways that mattered. The physical part of our marriage faded quietly. No announcement, no clear moment where I could point and say, that's when it changed. It just became less central, less expected, until it was barely acknowledged at all. I accepted that without much reflection. I thought companionship was enough. I thought shared history could substitute for closeness. Another blind spot, I confused comfort with connection. The quiet consequence isn't always separation. Sometimes the consequence is smaller, and that's why it's missed a slow shrinking of tenderness until you can't remember the last time you felt truly met, even while living under the same roof. Looking back, there were small moments that should have slowed me down. A pause in her voice when friends joked about romance, the way she lingered in conversations with people who really listened, the way she seemed both present and far away at the same time. At the time, I chalked it up to aging, to personality, to the natural quieting of life. I didn't ask deeper questions because nothing seemed wrong. That's the part that still unsettles me. Nothing was obviously wrong, and yet something essential was missing. As I grew older, my own sense of urgency softened. Desire became less demanding, and I felt a strange relief in that. I thought we were aging together, adapting together. I didn't understand that we might have been adapting separately. I assumed our shared silence meant shared understanding. The moment I realized how mistaken I had been didn't come with drama. There was no confrontation, no single event that forced clarity. It arrived slowly through reflection, through noticing how much I had taken for granted. It came when I finally allowed myself to look back honestly, without defending my past choices. I realized that her silence wasn't approval, it was endurance. That understanding arrived too late to change the shape of our marriage, but not too late to change me. I saw how often I had measured success by stability alone, how rarely I had checked in emotionally once the structure of our life was built. I had believed that not rocking the boat was a kindness, when in reality it was avoidance. There is a particular kind of regret that comes not from what you did, but from what you never noticed, from the questions you never asked, because things seemed fine. That's the regret that stays with you in quiet rooms. If you're listening, and a part of you feels defensive, pause. Not to blame yourself, just to get honest. Ask yourself one simple thing when she goes quiet. Do you hear peace, or do you hear distance? Now, in the later years of my life, I understand that intimacy is not just physical, but it is also not optional. It's an ongoing conversation, one that doesn't end simply because time passes. I learned that presence requires more than showing up. It requires curiosity, attentiveness, and the willingness to notice discomfort before it hardens into distance. Some mornings, as I sit with my coffee, I think about how many opportunities I had to lean in just a little more, to ask how she was really feeling, to treat silence not as reassurance, but as an invitation to listen more closely. I don't dwell on these thoughts with bitterness. I let them pass through me like weather. They are part of my understanding now. If there is any peace in this stage of life, it comes from clarity, from seeing the past without needing to defend it, from accepting that good intentions don't always translate into shared fulfillment. I can't rewrite the years, but I can hold their lessons with honesty. The house remains quiet in the mornings, but now I understand that quiet carries meaning. It always did. I'll leave you with one thought that took me a lifetime to earn. Silence isn't proof that everything is okay. It's a reason to listen closer,